Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 105 of Comedy Guy. This is the Tim and Lewis show. I'm joined by my good friend Tim Reedy. How you doing?
I'm battered, I'm bruised,
Christ,
I'm burnt.
You just look like
I look
fried
like shit.
chicken.
I look like shit all the time anyway, but this is like an extra layer of
Like a fried chicken who's been in the sun for too long and the edges are boiling off. And
it's rough.
so we're here on this episode. Tim's been away for a couple of weeks in sunny Ireland.
As a fugitive.
Can't do that. As a fugitive. Oh, God, we'll get into this. It's the last day, so you can talk about it. That's okay.
No, we'll hold off for
We'll hold off
days.
next
We'll
episode?
Yeah,
okay, because we're not quite out yet. All right. We'll talk about Tim's crimes later. Because on the last episode with before that, I was talking about when the cops got me for the kratom and going down there and doing all
Allegedly.
That.
No, you got done, actually.
No, I got done. No, I absolutely did that. So.
Weirdly enough, just because I got a message from, we'll say, a family member today telling me about apparently kratom is a wonder cure for COVID-19 now. This particular family member is one of those crazies who's on the internet all too much.
It absolutely is not, but it's still quite a fine thing.
He said kratom, and if I get sick, I should get this other thing called ivermectin, I think it's called.
Ivermectin. Wait, there's one going around right now because Brett Weinstein was just on Joe Rogan, and was that the the thing that they just said that like no one's listening to, and the fucking Weinstein guys always find something to whinge about.
Just fucking get vaccinated, for fuck's sake.
Right.
I went back to Ireland and I was hoping I could get vaccinated, but I couldn't. I had this. Right, I'll tell you. This is a funny story actually. So in Ireland, they're rolling out the vaccines by age. So it starts at the 90-year-olds, then the 80-year-olds. When I went there, they were doing the 35s to 40-year-olds.
Okay.
I'm 33. So I just missed. But I looked it up, and you can get the vaccine if you're in an at-risk group. And who's at risk?
Who's more at risk
Obese.
than Tim Reedy?
So your BMI had to be like over 35 or something. I was 34.
Oh, always under. Always the bridesmaid.
I lost like 15, almost 20 kg in the weeks before I went to Ireland. And that fucked me over. I couldn't get my vaccine.
That will teach you. You should have been ordering Dodo pizza. You should have been getting those cheese rolls, just stuffing them in, calling Tombert, hey, Tombert, drink, come more. And he's like, what? I thought you wanted to get rid of me. No, come eat. You should have just...
Well, I mean, it was...
a Christmas turkey.
It was unintentional weight loss, which was another worrying part. But back to good form again now.
Okay, good. My random story is yesterday, I wanted to get a mattress for the back of the car so I could sleep in the car. So there was one on Facebook Marketplace. Rayleigh told me where to go, and the guy sent a picture of some factory. Here's the door. And it's like, so I went in, and they're clearly like just taking out this, like whatever they're closing down. So they're taking everything out. Yep. And there were these two blokes working. So I walk in and there's these two blokes working, packing stuff up. And I'm like, oh, okay. Look, I don't want to interrupt their shit. So I'll just wait here politely. And I wait and I watch them pack up and I put more and more. And then the forklift comes and they take the whole thing away. This goes on for about 5 minutes and I'm just standing there watching them. I just walk in, stand them, watch them do their work. They do their work and then they leave. And then they just go without saying a word to me. And I'm left there going...
You just watched them work.
I just walked in. A random guy walked into their factory, watched them work, and they did not think to talk to me or care, did their stuff, packed the stuff into the truck, and left.
They must have thought you were some weird fetishist or...
Yeah.
Like, you have a work fetish.
I'm just watching them, and then I'm like, what
fucking
happened here? Oh, and then I looked at a map. Remember, I'm in Estonia. And then like there was another little room that I'd looked in, and I thought it was whatever. And then like hidden around the corner, was there a bloke sitting there all along.
Wait,
that he's the bloke that I'm supposed to talk to.
Oh, shit.
So at no stage did those two factory guys seem to go like, oh, yeah, office. Like, no words. No words were exchanged between us. So I don't want to drop their work. I'm walking in. You walk, someone's like, cool.
Yeah.
Love it. Classic.
This is apt because James came with me. James Humphreys. He came with me to Ireland. And he's been living here since, 2018 or something. And it took him a few days to get used to people just talking to him. And it got me as well because, sure, that's the longest I've been away from home ever. I've been gone for almost a year now. I remember just getting off the the plane and picking up the rental car, and the rental guy was chatting to me. I was like, ooh, fuck. And it took me a few days to adjust. Because this country just beats it out of you.
Right. Is it also, when you're going through that adjustment phase, is it also that you're going back to an English-speaking country? So all of a sudden you are more bombarded with just like radio and ads and word. You can hear everyone's conversation and it's not hard to understand anymore. Yeah.
Well, it's more oh, hi, how are things? You know,
okay, that part of it.
Just right. the bullshit, the shit that Estonians hate, the small talk stuff, you know. They'd rather you just get to the point. Whereas we live for the small talk. So it took us like 3 days to adjust. I kept driving on the wrong side of the road. James kept having to tell me, fucking other side. I kept getting into the car the wrong side. Kept getting in the passenger side. The fuck else happened? I said aita to a woman in a Tesco. It took about 3 days to
stop saying aita.
To shake off the Estonianness. You know? Okay.
It's normal. Yeah. It's good. It's good amount of time. If you just dropped it straight away, it'll be like where you've been, or you can't. But
then when you get to Kerry, it's like a whole, like everyone salutes everyone on the road. Complete strangers. Like you just salute, like drivers, passers by, people walking. In Ballyhigh, where my parents live, everyone says hello to everyone, even though I'm not the friendliest looking man. I'm a dodgy outsider in Ballyhigh, but just like, hey, how's it going? You know, you don't get that here. Yeah. So I'm depressed as fuck to be back to Estonia.
But let's go. I'm keen. We're gonna try and see if we can find some dates in August for this. Yeah, I'm keen for this. We'll go for a week or whatever, just a week. I want to see, like, we don't have to try. We don't have to climb
no fucking mountain.
No fucking mountains. No. I was like, you boys have done some drunken banter, some drunken crack. I understand what this is.
So we should talk about that actually.
So let's do this,
because when I was halfway up that mountain, I regretted everything. The last fucking 9 years of my life, it was so bad, because it came out of drunken banter. It came out of Tim getting drunk in his apartment and going, Tauri, I'm gonna fucking bring you to Ireland. And we're going to climb this mountain. Showing him pictures, and then him like, yeah, let's do it. And when I say that to Tauri, of course, in his mind, he's like, yeah, it's actually going to happen. In my mind, I'm like, fuck it.
It's the crap.
It'll never happen. We'll just drunk talk. And then there I was up the side of the fucking mountain, sunburnt to fuck, dying. So we woke up in the morning for this mountain climb, and the clouds were thick and they were low. So I thought, whatever it's going to be, we'll climb the mountain anyway, but we're not going to see much, and it's going to be horrible or whatever. By the time we get on the mountain, all the clouds had burnt off, and you could actually see the peak of the mountain, and I had no idea it was going to be as big as it was, because I've climbed this mountain before from the other side of the mountain, where you basically drive up halfway anyway, park, and then you just hike up the side. This was from near sea level, like a kilometer high mountain.
Can I ask why you didn't come up the other side this time then?
All right. Because the side we came up is called the easy side. It's the pilgrimage side. The mountain is Mount Brandon. It's a pilgrimage mountain. They have like the Stations of the Cross. I don't know if you're...
Yeah, what does that mean, a pilgrimage mountain, for us atheists here in Estonia?
Religious people believe... It goes back to Irish people climbing mountains because they believe they're getting closer to God type of thing. So a lot of our very tall mountains, they have crosses on the top. And a lot of them are pilgrimage mountains. Wow. So you start at the bottom and you climb up to the top, and then you say a prayer and fuck off.
This sounds like it sounds like a Star Trek episode that they go to the primitive society and they climb up to the mountain to get closer to the starship, which they think is the god in the sky.
And some mountains people climb it barefoot just to add an extra level of suffering.
Okay, it, you know? So I imagine that's part of pilgrimages. You got to suffer a little bit. You can't just go on a happy pilgrimage. Doesn't really have a...
So a lot of the pilgrims who go there would be like older people, sick people who are looking for healing or whatever the fuck you do on a mountain. So the side we climbed up is called the easy side. I've never climbed up this side before. So I just Googled it, and this is all right. That's the easy side. We'll go up that side. The side I usually climb is called the hard side, and that's only because there's some scrambling with your hands and feet, which I'm fine with, because it's shorter, it's less steep, and it's fucking easier.
So literally, Irish have named things around. However did the Irish get this reputation for being slow and backwards? I don't know.
So we start climbing from the easy side, and it becomes quickly clear we're fucked. because Tauri ran off. Tauri just bolted up the mountain.
He's good. He's
got,
young.
like,
He's agile.
He's mountain goat. He was just hopping. You could see him popping on rocks and shit going up. And me and James were just slowly going up with my friend Kyle. So we couldn't just turn around and leave and be pussies, because then Tauri would give a shit. You know? So we just had to fucking climb the mountain, and it took us, about 3.5 to 4 hours to get up to the top.
Christ.
No sun cream.
No sun cream.
All the clouds had gone. All the clouds that were left, we were above them, because we were, it's a very tall mountain, so you're above the clouds. So we were exposed to the sun for 4 hours up. Sat around at the top of the mountain, which you never do. If you're mountain climbing, when you get to the top, just do your thing and fucking leave. Because when you sit down, your muscles start to tighten up, the lactic acid flows, and you're fucked. So we sat up there for a good half an hour, and then the climb back was the worst thing I've ever done in my life.
Even though you're going downhill.
Oh, downhill is worse. Because you're using muscles that you don't usually use in real life. It's like climbing downstairs. If you climb upstairs, it's kind of handy, because it's front muscles and it's hamstrings and shit like that. When you're climbing down the mountain, your back calves are being used a lot. Okay. Your Achilles tendons are being used a lot. So muscles that aren't used to it get used a lot more, and it's fucking painful. And also constant pressure on your knees, constant pressure on your hips. So by the time we got to the end, I remember turning to James and I said, James, I'm exhausted. I'm actually like not exhausted in the hyperbolic, I'm tired type of way. I was physically exhausted. I couldn't fucking move. The only fucking thing that kept me going was the thought of the pint of beer that I was going to drink after. And I swear to God, Lewis, when we finally got to the pub and I drank that beer, I came. It was fucking. Oh.
Did you take water with you any water along the way?
We ran out of water before we got to the top. Because you see, this mountain, it's not the fucking Alps in Austria. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It would be considered a hill by most experienced.
Do we know how tall it is?
It's about 1,000 meters. Mm-hmm. So it's the second tallest mountain in Ireland.
I feel like somehow whenever we talk about mountains, we need to call Caleb. And go, Caleb, can you remind us how tall Munamagi is? Anyway,
he's an American now, isn't he?
Oh, is he?
Is he?
I don't know idea.
Fucking stay there, the cunt. Anyway. So yeah, it's about 1,000 meters, and it's just a long ascent in the sun. And I'm just at the point now where I'm like, all right, it was worth it, because the views were spectacular. But by the end, I was like, nah, this was a mistake. And I was thinking back to that night in my apartment, shit talking with Tauri, going, yeah, man, we fucking climbed the mountain, man. And I was like, Tim, you fucking idiot.
Could you think that with a little bit of extra planning, it could have been done? Get some sunscreen, a bit extra water.
Oh yeah, if we got sunscreen, well, we were fine for water, because there's mountain streams up there you drink out of.
Oh, okay. Right.
I didn't touch it because I wouldn't trust it, because there's a load of dead sheep up there and stuff.
So you just go, nah, the water's fine. I definitely wouldn't.
No, I rationed my water. James ran out almost immediately, and my friend Kyle, he's like a fit guy anyway, so he kept his, and I ended up drinking his. But yeah, with a little bit of planning, with sun cream, it would have been easier. But if we just went up the other side, it would have been fucking and way better as well, because it's more beautiful from the other side. Okay. You know. So anyway, that's yeah.
3 hours is a long time, and then 9 hours, you said.
Yeah, 3 up and about 4 to 5 down. Well, about 5.5 down, yeah.
Okay, you got some photos at the top?
I do, yeah.
Okay, and is there a cross or something at the top?
Giant cross, yeah, that my friend Kyle climbed on, and I guess people weren't happy about that.
At the time?
Yeah.
And there were other people up there at the time?
Oh, here's the thing, Lewis. There were all these old people climbing the mountain, and they were passing us out. And I remember on the way down, me, James, and Kyle stopped for a break, and these group of women who were like 50s, 60s, they literally said, "You're very unfit, guys." And I didn't have the energy to say anything to her. And I had a stick. I could have done some damage with that stick. But she was right. We were very unfit, you know.
So when you got to the top,
yeah,
let's approximately how many people are also at the top on that time?
When we first got there was a group of about 10 students listening to music on their iPhone and just taking pictures and stuff. They left. Then there was like a very old man who got up there. And in all, I'd say about, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 people.
Okay, something like that. And Kyle starts climbing on the cross, and
starts climbing on the cross.
Vaga blasphemous.
Kind of like, oh yeah.
Vaga.
And someone had actually cut down that cross. A few years ago. They took an angle grinder up and chopped it down.
Nice.
Because Catholic Church bad.
Yeah.
I guess they are. I don't know.
Hey, I want to know how did you get the power for the angle grinder all the way up there?
I assume it was a battery powered one.
Well, true. 1,000 meters is a long extension cord. So can't. Right, because I've been wondering. Well, to segue into angle grinders, absolutely. Because if you have a battery powered angle grinder, any bike you want is yours. Any single
Bike
bike.
get stolen.
No, but I recently had to use that because I rode Rayleigh's bike into town and I snapped the key off in the lock here in Teleskivi. So it was that, if you know Teleskivi, if you're listening, where the Fika is, where there's that walkway at the front of Teleskivi, the archway thing, it was under there. And I'd snapped it off and it was done. So I got my angle grinder, a couple of extension cords, went to the guys at Fika because I know them. I'm like, hey, can you plug this in? And they went, all right. And then literally, and 5 seconds, that lock is done. There's no, like, when they go like, oh, this is the expert lock, it can't be picked. Sure, they talk about the lock. There is no lock that can, you don't have a diamond lock, right? And, there's no substance hard enough that, at least in a lock, that it can, so you just have a battery powered angle grinder and within 5 seconds you can be through any lock.
You'd think that it was broad daylight and you were doing it too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You think the people would go,
No, because here's the trick that I've learned, because I've had to cut several bike locks over the years because I've always broken. Stolen bikes, broken keys, call it what you will.
Yeah.
The more obvious you are, this is the Australian trick, right? The more obvious you are, the less like you are.
Like the more brazen you are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You've got to be more brazen about it. I did this in Helsinki once where, again, I left my bike locked up in the outside of the center. Someone had tried to steal it, tried anyway, and they fucked the lock. They couldn't get in, but they fucked the lock, so I had no choice. And it was like tied a street pole that had a sign on the top. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Because I can't. That's right, I couldn't get power. I went and scoped the area and I saw that I couldn't get power. And I'm like, oh, fuck, how am I going to get my bike off now? So what I ended up doing was I realized that, I can't cut the pole because it's a street pole. Not even I'm that brazen. But the sign, like whatever, the stop sign or give way sign or whatever was on top, that will just slide off the top. So what I did was actually, for some reason, I thought it was a good idea in my mind. I set up a camera on a tripod and took a picture of it. Like, this is something I mean to do. Hey, everyone watching, criminals don't set up cameras with tripods out the front. And then I got a little step ladder and then went up there, took the giveaway sign, lifted it off the top, put it on the ground, took my whole bike, lifted the whole bike off the pole, took it off, then just put the sign back on.
So was the tripod just you were just being a filmmaker?
Yeah, my distraction. Yeah, it was I wanted to take a picture and I wanted to show like, hey, everyone. And I'm like, if someone comes along, cool, let's talk. If the police come along, cool, let's talk. I'll explain everything. Yeah. So the more brazen you are, the more daylight you are, the less likely someone is to.
Yeah, I've just walked backstage at big music shows and stuff. You just got to walk with purpose and look like you belong there. And I look like a roadie anyway, so. I remember one time I saw Dylan Moran in a circus tent in the west of Ireland. And someone brought him cake because that's the fucking joke they do with Dylan Moran. They bring cake. And after the show, I just walked backstage and ate his cake. I was trying to find him, but I couldn't find him.
He'll be happy with that. He hates it. I mean, what do you every single show? There's just cake spread. Yeah. You're a little bit sick of cake in the end, a little bit. So he's just like he would be happy that you.
But it's just the fact that you just walk with purpose and you can get anywhere. You know?
Get anywhere. So
all you terrorists out there.
That's right. Listen up, Osama. There's some guy.
Be brazen about it, man. Just wear your bomb through the airport,
and no one will think. Exactly. That's what you need to do.
What a joker this guy is.
Good times wearing that on the outside. So you're up. So
up the mountain.
This cross had been cut down, but they'd been put back up. So it's not a wooden cross. It's a metal
wooden cross. It's a big wooden cross. Yeah. Massive cross. Yeah. But at the time when the cross was cut down, it's an interesting one now because in Canada they found those graves at the First Nation people. They call them Indians, so I can call them Indians. Sure. The Catholic Church had set up schools for the First Nations people, and they recently found mass graves of babies there, and that's why that cross was chopped down on the mountain years ago, because the Catholic Church in Ireland did the same. They had these workhouses where unmarried, pregnant young women would be sent basically to get an abortion out of the eyes of whatever, and their babies would be tossed into shallow graves. So it was around that time that the cross got chopped down. I just thought it was topical to bring it up because of what's going on with the First Nations in Canada.
Super, Tim, you're 100%.
I'm on top. I'm on the
left.
ball, man. I'm fucking. Yes. I know what's going on. The finger on the pulse. You know what I mean?
So there's a huge cross up there, and so Kyle started to jump
Climb
all over
on
it.
Yeah. And people were like, "Oh,
were words spoken or just looks?"
No, just kind of like fucking young people.
Exactly.
But Kyle doesn't care. Kyle, if he sees something climbable, he's going to climb it. You know. So yeah, that was it. We climbed down. By the end, it was literally fucking one step at a time, stop to breathe. One step at a time, stop to breathe. It was really bad because I'm still, my lungs are still a bit fucked from this mystery illness I got in February that turned out to not be COVID. So I was still in a bad way from that, and finally got down and had my pint. I literally grabbed James and Tauri and I almost cried into their faces when I drank that pint.
So you got back down. It was just a local pub. Were you staying? Was it near where you were staying, or did you stay?
No,
near
like
the hill,
Kerry's a weird one because it's a small county, but everything's at least an hour away. Because the fucking roads are spaghetti and shit.
Oh, yeah.
So the mountain we climbed was at the end of this peninsula called the Dingle Peninsula.
Dingle?
The Dingle Peninsula, yeah. And so on the way back, there's a pub called the South Pole Inn that was built by which is the one in South Antarctic, is it? An Antarctic explorer called Tom Green.
Australia, yeah.
He was one of the first people to get to the South Pole, and so we went to his pub. The lads had food, and I just sank pints. For like 2 hours.
Because you had, so again with the water situation, you're dehydrated.
Yeah. Because see, here's the thing: I didn't expect. I thought one bottle of water would do me because this is the easy side of a mountain I've climbed before. I know in my mind it's 2 hours up and 2 hours down, but it wasn't. And the fucking cheeky thing about this mountain is that when you do the pilgrimage, you do the 12 stations of the cross.
What's that?
It's like I don't know, like when Jesus was carrying the cross, there's these 12 stations of the cross or some shit. Okay. I should know, but I'm not
Is this
religious.
stops along the way? Like pit stops?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean? Like
yeah.
You had 12 pit stops along the way. And
and it's supposed to represent like the 12 apostles as well or some shit. But anyway, there's these crosses, these numbered crosses the whole way up the mountain. And the first one's blank and the last one's blank. And the 12 are in between. And I remember being at number 3, not knowing anything about the Stations of the Cross thing, just saying, oh, there's a cross with number 3 on it. And this old man comes and he's like, oh, Jesus buys you, I'll race you up the mountain. And I said, oh yeah, the number 3, what's this about? He explained the Stations of the Cross thing. And I said, all right, how many are there? He said there was 16 crosses. And I was fucked already by then. And I was at number 3.
You had no idea. You would
idea.
have just blissfully have gone on climbing the mountain. Do you think you would have been better? Or that's at number 3 you've realised I've got to get to 16?
I think by 10 I would have went, all right.
When does this end? At least you knew by then that it's 16.
And then the old man, he just completely lied as well. He said the longest distance between 2 crosses is cross 8 and 9. Mm-hmm. But it was actually like 9 and 10, which was an insanely long distance over hands and feet, rocks, and it was just, the whole thing was horrible, but I'm glad I did it. You know what I mean? The views were worth it. But I'm only saying that now because I'm almost cured of my sunburn. Like the following day, we were fucked. Like the following day after the mountain, we had all these plans and I just couldn't physically do
You can
anything.
see, I mean, that you've got that sort of red that only comes from a really white guy.
Yeah, and I
like
peeled
that.
to fuck.
There's peeled, there's bits of your skin.
Falling off.
Don't tell Mikhail that you're just peeling all over his
DNA
chest.
everywhere.
It's like you've got a red that I just can't go.
You can see. Look at that.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Look at that for the camera bite.
Okay, if you're not watching the video, Tim's arm looks like red, like the back of a pig, like a young pig, and the top part is white, like not even white, like anemic, like just lacking.
This is the process of the Islamification of Europe happening on my arm. It's getting a little bit darker every now and then.
Because that red that you've got, I just can't get that red.
No,
like I just
not even
that
sunburn.
Peely.
Well, you have that fucking Mediterranean.
I got that Mediterranean
shit,
Romanian thing.
I got just Ireland and I don't know, fucking Algeria or something at the other end of my arm. It's a disaster. But I didn't get it as bad as James. James got it way worse.
Oh my god, James! I haven't seen him yet. So he's back. He came back with you already.
Came back with me. Yeah.
Christ, he just he must have been wiped out.
Very bad. His neck was, because at least I was wearing my hat, which protected my face. His face got it bad. Tauri got it bad as well in the face and the arms. Kyle got it bad, but he's half Filipino, so you can't really tell. And I just got my arms. And there's still blisters for
No,
me.
I mean, I never would have thought in Ireland, right, of all the places that you're going to go.
Well, I mean, it's UV radiation, you know. It's just the sun. There's no clouds. And that's it.
Have you, Tim, stopped to consider for a moment that this might actually be punishment from God?
For a lot of things, I would say.
Many
things.
things. But you climbed his mountain, made his pilgrimage.
Yeah.
Sacrilege happened on top.
Just on the way up, using every expletive.
Everything under the sun.
Yeah.
And then you get to the
literally
top.
replaying the scene where, you know, the end of Pulp Fiction where the guy gets raped by the police guy. Just doing that the whole way up the mountain.
The whole way. Then when you get to the top, Kyle, I don't think, look, I don't know Kyle. He seems like a great guy. I'm willing to bet he didn't just climb it, but he probably did little sexual action along the way.
He might have.
Just to the cross, like just something like that. And God.
Well, what happens on the mountain stays on the mountain.
It doesn't though, because God remembers.
Yeah, of course. And funnily enough, when we were on the top of the mountain, we weren't that bad. It was on the way down where the damage happened. You know what I mean?
But it takes a while to kick in as well.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I had the sense to put my hoodie on, which was uncomfortable as fuck, but it probably saved me from actual skin cancer.
From actually going to hospital and having to...
Yeah. So yeah, that was my mountain. And the thing about it was the very end of the trip. So the trip was fantastic start to finish. But, you know, I was doing at least 10 hours of driving a day. So I was tired anyway. Like for 2 weeks solid, almost 10 hours of driving a day.
What are you just driving around, just seeing the place? I mean, it's nice to see the place, but...
Well, the plan was I wanted to show James and Tauri as much of the west of Ireland as possible. As humanly possible. And it turns out what's humanly possible is a lot. But, you know, you're stretching the definition of humanly there because there were some days where we'd leave at about 9 o'clock and I wouldn't get home till 10.
Wow.
You know?
Okay, it's rough, and then get up the next day and do it again.
And drinking every night.
So when we go to Ireland, we don't need to do that. Or I can drive a bit or something. We don't need to do this 10 hour. I don't want this 10 hour shit. I just want to hang around, see the local, talk to these people.
And you would almost get a better experience than they did anyway, because, you know, you see one mountain, you see them all really. But the pubs are still closed in Ireland. So they never got the first and only time we got to sit inside a pub and drink was in the airport hotel the day before we left, because the airport hotels get an exemption.
Really?
Yeah, no one's allowed to drink indoors. It's outdoor drinking only, and because the streets are so narrow in my hometown, for example, they can't put terraces outside and they don't have beer gardens, so they're all shut. So the lads never really got an authentic Irish pub experience, which was annoying, but sure.
How was that? Once you came off the mountain, you said the lads ate food and you had beer.
This was sitting outside.
Okay, sitting outside.
Couldn't go
some
inside.
tables,
Yeah. Which is, you know, fucking sitting outside and drinking. Might as well go home and sit outside and drink. You know, when you're inside an Irish pub, there's traditional music, there's just chatting with locals and stuff like that. You're sitting outside, you might as well be in fucking Tallinn. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was it. 10-hour days, mountains. Fucking.
I didn't know Ireland could be so stressful.
But I mean, This is what makes me think that I might actually be able to survive in the real world. You know what I mean? That I was able to get up early and commit to something for 10 hours makes me think I could actually get a real job someday.
Okay. Someday.
Yeah, someday.
When all that internet money runs out.
Yeah, I just get a real job someday.
And the Bitcoin runs out or whatever.
I can do this shit, you know?
Well, it's nice to know once, you know, you don't have to do it forever, but you know, okay, it's a possibility. It makes you feel better.
But I mean, after 2 weeks of it, my patience was wearing very thin with everything. I was getting a bit fucking ratty with the boys, and I don't like that, but sure, whatever. It comes with the territory, I guess, you know.
Sure.
I can't just be like, oh yeah, class, let's fucking go again for fucking 2 weeks.
No, I can't as well.
Drives you crazy.
Struggle as well to be like to travel in.
So yes, a week. We'll do a week.
A week. Yeah, a week. A week's great. It's a very nice amount of time. We can see your area, County Kerry.
Meet the dog-in, the cat-in.
Yep, the typical things, and we don't have to do too much. And
yeah,
that's why, because the guys right now are doing the summer tour, and that's when I always like the Comedy Estonia Suva tour, and I'm always like, am I just too old? Like they just do like, I mean, they're doing a longer tour because originally we thought that the tour was too long every summer, But okay,
I was looking at the dates this morning, like fucking hell.
So many fucking dates.
12th, 13th, 14th, 15th. It just keeps going and
Just
going
keeps
and
going.
going.
Because we originally were going to have less than the year before, but then this year and no shows, and you know everyone's excited. So all of a sudden the calendar's full.
Yeah.
And then these guys are like, "Oh fuck, we've got to do all those shows." But they do it. They go in the van and they camp and they spend time. And I am unsure how they physically and mentally cope with that.
Young people.
I can't take one day.
Yeah.
I can't take I don't know. They're camping. They're just doing shows.
No,
I mean, in some ways, it's an idyllic lifestyle, and the other way, I'm like, no, I want my bed and I want a bit of
That's why I
something around me.
remember years ago. I think the first Positivus we did, you camped, and I was like, I could drive down and come back, but I'd have a look at the accommodation. There was nothing but camping, and I thought, no, I couldn't fucking do it.
I get you. Because I've now got, well, as I was telling this story about going to the factory yesterday, I now have a mattress that fits perfectly in the back of my car. It's 115 centimeters across. 2 people can just do that if you really want to. And so now we can stay in the back of the car, but like 1 night, 2 night, but
Yeah. No, I'm too fucking pampered. No, I like, because see, another story about Ireland. James came for 2 weeks. Tauri came for 1 week. So Tauri was flying into Dublin and then flying from Dublin down to Kerry. The week of his flight, the airline that did the Dublin to Kerry route went bankrupt.
Crazy. Just done.
So in the middle,
Nordica style, done.
yeah. Oh, and Nordica were one of the companies that came in to bid on buying them.
Uh-huh.
So, and it's not official yet, but it might happen. I don't know. So anyway, in the middle of my 10-hour driving days, I'm supposed to be having my passport renewed. I'm supposed to be doing my taxes for last year. I'm supposed to be doing 50 million things. I find out Tauri's flight was cancelled. So I had to scramble, change the entire plan. Me and James had to drive up the west coast to Galway, which is like the Tartu of Ireland. It's like a student city, very bohemian, hipstery thing. Tauri had to get a train, which means he had to get a taxi from the airport to the train station. He doesn't know how to do any of this stuff. He's never been to Ireland before. Had to just scramble, do all this, get the fucking train ticket done. And I was looking at accommodation. It was last minute. Everything was booked out. The option was spend a fortune on an Airbnb or stay in a hostel. And I had to make that decision. Like, am I going to slum it and be uncomfortable for 3 days, or just pay a lot for a Airbnb? And of course, I got the fucking Airbnb because, like you said, I can't do young people shit anymore. I can't stay in a room with 12 other people.
I've come to the conclusion I maybe can on my own. If I was traveling on my own again, I was just talking to, remember Renner?
Yeah,
Renner. I was just talking to Renner. Renner's in Mexico.
Is he?
He's doing some, I'm not exactly sure, but I'll generalize and say he's doing his eat, pray, love thing, and he's going backpacking and doing his thing and checking it out. And he just told me he got corona, but he's recovering. He's fine. And I reckon I could do that again, but if I need to be with other people.
Wait, Renner got COVID?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, because he doesn't like vaccines.
Yeah.
So. I know. But he's surviving and he's kicking on. But he got I don't know, he got it in Mexico, which just makes it more fancy, I guess.
There's going to be an Estonian variant now spreading across Mexico.
Nobody wants that would be so Estonian style. Nobody wants the Estonian COVID.
Yeah.
No, I got to get the Mexican COVID.
Yeah.
What was my point? But yeah, if I'm going with like somebody else or my girlfriend or something like that, I'm like, because we're going to, so in July, we're going to Istanbul for a week.
You're going to bring me back a kebab?
Absolutely. Hot, ready to go. I'll keep it going. And I was like, no, I'll chip in a bit more and we'll get a nice place. There's a balcony. There's a nice apartment. It's like 8 days in Istanbul. I'm like, I need some space.
When you're doing shit like that, you should always break it down to the per day price.
Sure.
And think about when you're there, what you'll be willing to pay for a meal, or it adds up to about the price of getting a nicer place. You know what I mean?
And Istanbul's very cheap. We're only like, this is a really nice place and it's only 40 euros a night. Like for 2 people, we won't die. It's all right. So I'm like, we'll have the nice balcony. We'll have like there's 2 rooms and stuff and plenty of space. And I'm like, we need this. Let's not, because exactly. Like that's how I learnt to always take Finnair when I'm going anywhere. You want to go anywhere? Take Finnair. That's a good slogan. I should. Anywhere? Finnair. Anywhere? Finnair.
You listening, Finnair?
That's it. That's sold right there. Because I don't know. Like one of the times I went to Australia, I was like, you know what? I'm a poor comedian. This is back in the day. Now it's present day and I'm still a poor comedian nevertheless. And I was like, I'll get the cheapest flight to Australia. And it was with China East Dodgy Airlines or something. And it was 500 euros or 500, I don't know, cheaper. And as soon I got to Helsinki, normal, I got into the flight. As soon as I sat down in that seat, in that fucking Chinese plane in Helsinki, I was like, I'll pay $500 to get out of here right now.
Yeah.
I don't care. I would rather be on a Finnair flight. And then we flew to Xinjiang or someplace in China, and then there was a connection and no one knew what to do. And then we got another plane and it took long. And I was like, you know what? I would have paid $500 to just go Finnair, Helsinki, Bangkok, Sydney, done.
Yeah.
And that's why I go to Tokyo with Finnair. Helsinki, Tokyo, done. When we're going to Istanbul, Tallinn, Istanbul, done. That's why we're going to Istanbul.
Direct, is it?
Direct, because we found direct flights, 250 each, so-so, but more, give or take, not bad in this environment. Reasonable flight times, I'm like, done. You don't want this bullshit. Oh, I've saved 50, so I have to sleep overnight at Frankfurt or something.
That just reminds me of another thing that happened on the mountain was I explained to James what would happen if Tim passes out. That you would have to call the mountain rescue, right? and they'll bring a helicopter and they'll rescue you off the mountain, but you have to pay €2,500.
Sure.
You get the bill.
Helicopters ain't cheap.
And on the way down from the mountain, James turns to me and he goes, look, we just split the helicopter cost. Tim, just drop down and we'll call the fucking helicopter and we'll just split the cost. And I thought, like, do you know what? I almost fucking would. Just pay the extra just to get off the mountain.
2,500. How much is it? What do you take, cash or credit?
Oh, fuck. At that point, I was like, yeah, I'll pay the extra because I'm uncomfortable. I don't want to be here.
$2,000. Wait, I need a bottle opener. Do you have a bottle? I'll go one in the other room.
I don't.
I'll get one. Wait. We have such technology.
He had a point, like, you know what I mean?
Sure, at that stage you're like, I don't give a fuck, I'll pay anything. Hey, I'll come back on camera with our new...
Oh, I gotta do a live read for the sunglasses.
Yeah, we come back to the camera with the new Paikas Jankud sunglasses, which are just sunglasses that we put Paikas Jankud on the side of.
Can I see those?
But so is all merchandise, so, they're just... I mean,
do they actually block the sunlight? Or?
No, I think they actually increase the sunlight, actually.
Really?
If anything. I want to tell you that we did, scientific tests and with Daniel and how they are. Yeah, I'll get you a pair, no worries. But really, we just wanted some Paikas Jankud merchandise.
Yeah,
so we got sunnies. It's all right. Like, what would be then? Okay, so let's go through the Comedy Estonian merchandise. Tussi, they have everything. Those fans will buy anything, of course. We've got the Kühleport, have a shopping bag now. So it's like a really nice one as well. It's a good quality. It's solid. It's a good bag to have. Paikas Jankud have got the sunglasses. Tell me, Tim, what do you think would be the comedy guy merchandise?
A ute. an actual ute.
I don't know if we could sell it on the web shop. A real ute guy, mate.
Like Dennis Ninemets does when he drives around in his car with his big face on the side of it.
Oh, that would be the way. Like, because we always make... So if you've ever seen, ladies and gentlemen, Dennis Ninemets has the deal, obviously, with Skoda because of the fucking show, whatever, Alo, whatever bullshit. But not only does he get to ride a Skoda, his car has Dennis Ninemets written on the side over 2 doors, like in huge letters in that.
And his face is there as well.
No, it's not.
It's not.
It's not there, which is what I was about to say. That's what we need. On the side of the Volvo, we need me going, yeah, mate, fucking circle work, get into it.
Because I almost crashed into him once and I was almost certain his face, because he was pulling out onto Tulika or whatever that annoying street is with the train tracks, and I almost smashed into him. I should have.
Just for the crack.
Well, because at the time he was promoting his show, and every time I'd go into the Circle K and buy I just see his face there. I just see his face everywhere. And he's a very, it's libelous to say punchable face. But, no offense, I'm sure you're a lovely man, but you have a punchable face, you know what I mean? He does as well, by the way.
True.
Let's just level the playing field here.
It's easy to ask who doesn't want to punch Lewis Ezrin at this stage.
Like, if Dennis Ninemets was coming out this side and Lewis was coming out this side, the Ute versus the Skoda. I don't know who'd want to fucking crash into both of you somehow.
Maybe.
I try and
I mean, the
jackknife
Ute
the car.
you'd think would take out both of you as, you know, good old-fashioned Ute. So, yeah, maybe somehow a picture of a Ute with me on the side going with like this like circle work, you can't fucking.
I've never actually seen one in real life, a Ute.
A Ute, really?
It's a really low pickup truck, isn't it? It's low to the ground.
I guess so. Lower than like a Raptor or something like that thing Caleb has. Lower than that. It's like a sedan. It's basically a sedan that's got like a regular family car for, you know, with a tray in the back instead. So just that you can have typically it's just 2 seats at the front, not 4, because then it's raised. So a real Ute is just a straight up sedan that instead of the back just has a
I've not because in Estonia you always see these weird cars. You don't know where the fuck they come from. These weird like American cars, but I've never seen a Ute here. Never, not once.
No, you think that because they're great because there's no weight in the back, because they're meant to. You're supposed to put your lumber, your wood, your tools, your bags of concrete. They're meant for tradies and stuff like that. So there's no weight in the back. That's why they're perfect to do circle work in, because you just turn the wheel, put your foot down, and yeah, mate, smoke it up.
So that's what you got to get. You got to get comedy guy
Utes. I think probably wouldn't be a big seller, but nevertheless, it would be good to advertise that.
I don't know what else you could get. You could probably get
What would be
fleshlight, maybe. You do one like, do you know the way the famous porn stars, they have like their vaginas molded into fleshlights. Just do one for your little arsehole there. So the fans can experience what it's like.
You'd also fuck me in the ass. That's great.
I don't know. You thinking of getting merch or something? Yeah.
Nah, it's all right. I don't think this is a merchable kind of thing. I appreciate everyone that listens and get into it, but I'm not. Yeah, because the merch is also like, the merch is not, having said that, the merch is not there to make money, right? It's not like a super money making thing, any of this thing.
Branding, mate. It's fucking
fun.
branding,
It's branding. You know, you do a Kulapod bag, you do some Pecos Yan good sunglasses, just have some fun.
And you do see people like, I see people all the time walking around with the Tussi Suyad stickers. I see a lot of around.
Sure. Because we give out a lot of those.
Yeah.
We mostly give them out. And also every time you buy some merch, we always throw the stickers in. And then I'm like, put the comedy guy sticker in. So Heather knows that that's the only way my stickers get distributed.
From the last studio, I pocketed like 20 of them. And I was like, I'm going to put these around town. But then I thought,
just put them
Lewis might get in trouble, so I won't.
No, fuck it, do it. I mean, because it's a sticker. What can I say?
Yeah,
you know, sure. Oh, whoops. Like, just put them in really. When the
moon hits your eye like
it. When the Italian police finally haul you in, need to put one on the door.
On the forehead of the arresting officer. Right there.
Hey, on the door of the police station on the way in. Just
do. Yeah. Puglia Italian is full of stickers though. Like every light pole up there has a sticker on it now. And
so hipster.
Yeah. But I love this shit. I love this Latvian t-shirt company because I can just get one-off t-shirts printed for $5.99.
So these,
like today, I'm wearing my Beetlejuice World Champion boxer t-shirt.
So it's okay, yeah, because you've had a couple of these shirts now. So it's you sent me the link, so you can go there. You get a t-shirt, you upload your picture, and it's $5.99 plus delivery or something.
Well, delivery's piss cheap. And the thing about it is, like, this is the cheap, shitty one where it's just like printed on. You can actually have it woven in as well for an extra like €2 or something. But
see, because I ordered this t-shirt off AliExpress because this is some, you know, obscure shit that I'm into, VHS and PAL and CCAM.
And I'm into weird.
If you understand what I mean by PAL and CCAM, go hang yourself right now, and I'll join you later on.
Because of you, by the way, because I watched that interview you did with the retro gaming guy.
Okay.
His stuff is constantly in my recommendations now.
Like
constantly.
Who's that with Bob? Okay, yeah. Oh, Bob, the retro RGB. Yeah, because he's really big. Yeah, he's well, yeah, that's why I was so surprised that Bob... I mean, I know Bob and he's a great guy, but that's why I was surprised that he wanted to talk to me. I was like, you really are lacking guests this week when you want to talk to
I don't sell yourself short.
No, I did a new video today. I'm trying to make some more videos. So.
What is VHS-C anyway? I don't know what
it's an extended standard of VHS, a new version. It was also... it was much smaller cassettes as well.
Yeah.
You can fit them into it. There's also an adapter. You can put them in and use them in regular VHS. Very obscure, not used that much. Because by that time we were kind of past magnetic media.
In Ireland, I walked into this random particularly in the west coast of Ireland, there's just these shops that old men own because it's been in the family for years. And sometimes it's a sweet shop, like a candy shop, but sometimes it's an electronic shop. And I went into one called Dorrington's or something in Tralee, and there was Betamax in there, Betamax tape deck thingy, and it was only like €15. And I thought,
I would fucking totally buy a Betamax.
But I reasoned like I can't bring this back to Estonia.
Of course, it's a massive thing.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Put that in your check-in?
I still should have bought it and put it up in my fucking parents' attic because 15 fucking. I don't even care if it doesn't work. It just looked really cool.
Looks dope.
It had the top loading thing and everything.
I've got a couple of VHS players, so I got some VHS at home. I've got DVD. I got VHS. I've got old school CRT TVs that look really good. Because if you want to watch a DVD, watch it on an old CRT. It looks so much better. Like even the filmings that we did, like Sander. I watched Sander's DVDs on like an old CRT tube television. It just looks way better.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is, but it looks tremendous.
Like we never did it now, and that's one of my biggest regrets about this last Ireland trip was we never went up to my parents' attic.
You didn't do it? That was the big thing.
We went up, like me and James went up just to show him the attic, but the plan was we'll wait for Tauri to come down and then we'll have a day where we'll just go up there and make piles of different things and sort through them. But so because his flight got cancelled, it changed to going up to meet him in Galway. Half the week was eaten into. I had to get another PCR test before coming back to Estonia. Which that's another funny fucking story, the PCR testing.
Yeah. In Ireland, because it's the same you get here. If you go for a COVID test here, they shove it up your nose twice. Yep.
I gag every time they do that for the nose. But in Ireland, it's one in the mouth and one in the nose, and I gag even worse. And I remember when I got there, when you go to Ireland after 5 days, you have to take another test to prove you're negative, and then you can break quarantine. You can just do whatever. So on the drive in, I'm gagging already. Before I even get to, I'm just mentally just thinking about it and then just... And James is looking over me because he has to get the test as well. Like, what the fuck's going on here? Are you sick? I'm like, no, I just have a bad gag reflex to the point where if I think about it, I'll start gagging. So we get to the test center and the guy swabs my throat and I just hold back the gag. But then when he put it into my nose, I made a sound that was like... like that. James starts bursting his hole laughing. The woman who's testing him starts laughing. The guy who's testing me he literally said, "That's a first for me, man." And so
you gag when it goes up your nose.
I gag if anything goes in any of my orifices.
That's a weird fetish to have, that you gag when it goes. The mouth, I'd make
a terrible gay man or a very good gay man. Depends what you're
either
into.
way, because maybe those gay guys, they're into some weird things,
maybe
right? So yeah, you fucking gag when it goes up your nose, bitch. Yeah.
You've thought about this before, haven't you?
Nose, bitch. Yeah. There's only orifice. Well, if we're counting,
up my ass, I don't know. I haven't tried that yet.
Right. If we're counting the nostril as an orifice, which medically I guess it is. So there's only so many orifices that are even that size. So
even when something goes deep into my ear,
yeah,
it's weird. But like, because the nose one is, I had it done here.
It's in my ear.
I had it done here and the two nostrils, and it was fine. But when he did it, he shoved it way deep and he twisted it, and you can feel the twist. And he had terrible tableside manners for a fucking nurse. He shouldn't have went. That's a fucking first for me, nobody. But anyway, later on in the week, I thought I better get tested now before I go back to Estonia. And I went through the whole thing again. I gagged so bad when she put it in my throat that she said, "Look, the throat's basically bollocks. It's bullshit. We can't tell nothing from the throat. We'll just do the nose." And then when she started putting it up my nose, I started gagging really bad again. Like I thought I was going to get sick. So she pulled it out and said, "Oh, you're grand." So I never even got properly tested, but I still went through horror only to find out before the flight, you don't need a fucking PCR test to enter Estonia.
Oh, somehow Ireland was okay. It had under the number or something. So
yeah, Ireland was under the number. So I put myself through hell, spent €100 on another test, by the way, for nothing, for no reason whatsoever. I got to my passport expires in a week, by the way, and the border guard was like, "How long are you staying here for?" And I said, "A week." And she said, "All right, go on, just let me in." You're fucking border security here. Shocking. Shocking.
Who knows what's happening right now? Because it's been this, especially when I talk to my friends in Australia, that like last summer.
Well, you're fucked now in Australia, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like last summer we were good. Remember last summer we were partying and everything, and Australia was in lockdown. And so we were like, fuck you guys in Australia. And then the tables turned, and then for 6 months it was the opposite. Australia was open. There were shows. We've talked to Olga. She did the Melbourne Comedy Festival, and Daniel Sloss did Australia, and shows are happening. I talked to my friends. Everything open for business, and now it's flipped again one more time. That now we're open for business. We have almost no restrictions now.
None, zero.
There's zero restrictions left, and Australia is back into a lockdown because we don't have vaccines.
And Australia is back into a lockdown when their numbers are comparable to Estonia.
Yeah.
It's like in the 20s, 30s, 40s, but they just immediately panic and go, fuck it, shut the fucking thing down.
Yeah, they lock down hard. That's always because that's originally how they said they got when it was the good time when the comedy festival was on. That's their excuse. Like, well, we locked down so hard in Melbourne, everyone couldn't fucking scratch their ass, but now we can, no, because fucking ScoMo hasn't got any vaccines. He doesn't know what the word means. He's probably an anti-vaxxer, probably.
It's also funny to me that Australia is such a fucking massive country that they lock down by city, not just by territory even. Like Perth was the first to lock down
per city
last week, then Brisbane.
They're like, if
Sydney
you've gone
was the
to
other
this
day.
part of the city, then don't, do this or something like that. So, I absolutely would genuinely love to go back to Australia for Christmas. And who can say? Like, just absolutely can't say right now, because the only way to get into Australia is to quarantine, and it's mandatory, and they put you in a hotel. It's not just like island style, like, oh,
Do you have to pay for your own hotel?
Yes, $3,000.
$3,000.
That's what it costs to get into Australia right now. $3,000. And now they're saying even that, like, because all the Chinese have fucking got $3,000. They don't give a shit. So it's out. There's like not enough hotels to put this in, and that's producing a strain on the system. And everyone's like, yo, ScoMo, P.S. ScoMo is our Prime Minister. ScoMo, where's the vaccines, champ?
Is ScoMo his nickname or?
Yeah, Scott Morrison.
Scott Morrison.
Scotty from marketing.
Is he the guy who got an egg thrown at him last year? Or
Probably. I mean, he's been the Prime Minister for a
or
while.
Yeah.
Well, it is a classic Australian thing to want to do some act like that, throw the milkshake. Even when the Sydney Harbour Bridge was opened, it was whatever, in 1900, whatever the fuck. And it was there was like a tape across there. There's a ribbon they're going to cut in a big ceremony. And some dude, literally, like a former army guy, literally galloped through on his horse and with a sword cut the ribbon before the politician could.
Oh, what a legend.
That's the most Australian fucking thing ever. That one of our most famous monuments. And even the opening of that got upset by some dude going, you know what? Fuck the fucking government. I'm going to, on my horse. Today might be a use, I don't know, substitute, whatever it might be today. And cut the ribbon, and the security didn't stop him. Yeah.
Fucking
From
hell.
the land of Ned
So
Kelly.
it's all vaccine related. Like there's no rollout going on there of the vaccines.
I don't know what's going on. My parents said they were. My parents are old as fuck, right? So they were eligible for whatever few vaccines there are, but I haven't checked out recently to see what's
Because
up.
here now, I'm not vaccinated yet. I went back to Ireland to get vaccinated, but my obesity plan fell through because I lost too much weight.
my obesity plan fell through.
But here now, Confido are doing walk-in, what they call live vaccination thing. So you can go to the Lasnamai Centrum clinic, and they have 50 doses a day, first come, first serve.
Let's go do it.
So
Why don't
tomorrow
you do it?
I'm going to go do it.
Oh, you are
tomorrow.
going to go do it tomorrow. Good.
I'm not anti-vax at all. I'm very pro, you know. My brother's very anti-vax, so I've had to put up with a lot of shit from him over the last few days. But so once I get that done, and once my passport renews on the 12th, I'm gone, Lewis. I'm fucking leaving immediately. I'm going to Italy. I'm going somewhere else. We're going to go to Ireland again. I just can't wait to fucking just get back to normal, you know?
Because when we go to Turkey, because it's not just when you get the second vaccine, it's 2 weeks after the second vaccine.
Oh, but also it's Janssen, so I get the one shot. And I don't give a shit if it's only, 75% effective against the Delta variant. I don't care. I get the little yellow book that I pointed at and go, oh, I'm vaccinated. Let me fucking travel.
But we don't have that yet, though. That's the thing. Like, not the vaccine passport is not a...
Pia has one. A little yellow passport book.
Really?
Yeah, there's just no EU system yet to register your...
Right. So
thing,
it's not. I mean, I can have a book that says Louis Zezerin has a fucking 12-inch dong, but if Latvia doesn't recognize my little book that says Louis has a 12-inch donger,
July 19th
then
was when the EU vaccine passport system.
Oh, okay.
Was
So
live,
there's something there.
So I'm fucking.
Because when we go to Turkey, it's within my 2 weeks, so I'll still need to PCR test it. But when we come back, it's past the 2 weeks, so apparently I can walk right in and once I come back. So
yeah, I don't. Like this whole trip to Ireland was kind of eye-opening to me because of how easy the whole getting into the country was ridiculously easy. When me and James landed, I was panicking. I was worried, like in the build-up to the trip, like what are they going to ask James? They'll just let me in because I'm a citizen.
Oh, in Ireland.
In Ireland,
okay. Yeah.
Like we devised this big plan of what he was going to say to the border people. We were going to lie to them and say, "Oh, he's here doing marketing consultancy for my company, so he's traveling for business and all that." And we get to the security. First of all, there's a Russian guy yelling in the queue next to us, just going, "I fucking missed my plane, I fucking..." And then the border guard is like, "Don't you effing blind at me." And they were just having this argument, and they just let the Russian guy through, no bother. There's a little like Romanian woman, shout out to your Romanian family. There's a little Romanian woman in a wheelchair, just literally making noises, going, "Bleh!" And the woman's like, where are you going? And she went like, "Bleh!" And she said, "Oh, Clonmel, oh, very nice, come on through." They get to me, they let me through, no bother, have the crack with me, welcome back home, all this shit. They get to James, and I'm watching him from the other side of the border, basically, going like, "All right, okay, marketing consultant, you're here for work, yeah. The woman asks him, "And why are you in Ireland?" And he literally said, help friend website." He panicked.
He's panicked. He's freaking out because
But she just went like, "Go on."
You seem fine. I've got to deal with Russians and this old woman.
Yeah, all my worry was like nothing. So there doesn't seem to be, like, even...
Do you think... Okay.
Just like, even though my passport is expired, I'm almost tempted to just try and travel anyway.
Right.
And just go, fuck it, I don't know.
Because at that stage... Right. Because we, as human beings, we live in our own brains. Yeah. And we have a tendency to believe that the world revolves around us. It's just a human thing, of course, right?
I don't
Absolutely. Oh, really? Yeah. And we think that, okay, it's all us and things that are happening to us and all of that. But then it's not. You get there and you got the crazy old woman, you got the crazy Russian guy, you've got this, and then like... Yeah,
these border guards have seen thousands of people today. And they don't give a shit about
and that's within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, with a 10-minute span, you had all that crazy, let alone 8 hours, 24 hours a day. And what are they going to do? Like, no, Welsh white guy. Oh, we're going to detain you in our cell while we're dealing with crazy Romanian woman and Slavic guy who's squatting and yelling and spitting.
They want you to go through so they can finish their day's work and fuck off home and deal with their own shit.
Again, now we're drilling into the Australian attitude. When you understand that you're part of a much bigger system in the world. This makes Australians sound much altruistic, but we're not. When you understand that you're just another person trying to get through and they'll probably let you through, that's the Australian attitude.
Oh, I'm the complete opposite.
You can do all sorts of shit.
I peel my skin off my fingers worrying about just minute shit that I know. It just doesn't matter. Nothing's going to happen. But if I'm unprepared, if I don't have at least a plan A, B, C, D, or an excuse or something, I'm like, fuck. I'm going to prison.
You need an excuse. And I would say that's also part of the Australian attitude. Like, you got to have a good fucking story, mate. Like, oh, nah, mate, I was going over here, then I was doing that. Yeah, nah, it's great. Like, then, oh, sure. You've got to have a backstory. That's, hey, nothing comes for free.
Yeah.
You got to do some work here.
Well, because, I don't know. Yeah, no, that was a real, because the Russian guy yelling specifically, he was screaming. Like,
was it in Russian?
He was Russian, yeah. He was screaming at the border guard, swearing at him. And this border guard just said, fuck off, just go through, just fucking get out of my sight type of thing.
Because what's his choices right now? Deal with him or throw him in a cell? Does he even have the authority? In 10 minutes, there's going to be another crazy Russian guy come through. What do you do? Right, so what do you do when you just roll up on the border and you're like, fucking here I am. I'm here right now. Like, it's much.
But even like, because I was thinking about this, I didn't know you talked about the kratom thing on the podcast. So I was thinking about your whole kratom thing. Okay. Let's say not you. Let's say me. Let's say I try to buy illicit drugs off the internet.
Like,
I never would.
Perchance, yes.
Never would,
Never
right?
would. Never would dream of it. But
Not
anyway.
at all. But like, possession is, what's the phrase? 9/10 of the law or whatever.
That is the
fact that
colloquial
if the
phrase.
police, let's say I tried to order kratom off the internet, they took it and whatever. If I just say, that's not me, I'd probably get away with it. You know? You owned up to it immediately and was like, I fucked up, whatever, and you got your misdemeanor charge and you're fine or whatever the fuck. But what if you just said, I don't know, no.
Sure. So, okay. As I will say, after having been caught by the fuzz and having to go down and defend myself and explain myself to the lady at the customs board, why was I trying to?
I never would try to get out of shit like that. I would also immediately go, fuck, I'm sorry. Like, I fucked up, I'm sorry. But, you know, talking to especially people back in Ireland, this hypothetical scenario, they'd all be like, no, I don't know what that is. Sorry, what? Who? What? That? I've never heard of that. And they'd be like, no, you just get away with it. So
I think it comes down to how difficult do you want to make it for them? Because if you're making, so they hold you down, fair enough. So they've intercepted my package. The package is addressed to Louis Cesarin. They have worked out who Louis Cesarin is. And they say, hey, come down and talk to us about this package and what's in it. At that stage, you have a choice. You can either do what you're saying and be like, it wasn't me, do the shaggy, it wasn't me, or you can own up to it. Now, I think though, if you do the wasn't me, they can there's a certain level of fine. They're like, look, it was this amount. If we think you're guilty, it's this amount and here's the fine and so forth. And it's actually pretty high. It was like, what I'm trying to say is that because I was like, yep, it wasn't that. And she's like, didn't you do the research and didn't you know this was illegal? And true, I then did say, I didn't know. I hadn't Googled. I didn't look at anything on the internet, which is, okay, a pretty piss poor excuse. But nevertheless, I got less than the maximum. So they have the facility to give you the maximum. So I got I want to say it's like 300, 400 euros was the fine or something in some sort of thing on my record. But that could be much higher. The fine could be much higher. And they could possibly escalate it and keep on looking.
Yeah.
So the question is, do you want them to keep on looking through your shit or not? And I'm like, no, I do not want them to keep on looking through my shit. So what am I going to do? Play good. And because, you know, if I go, fuck you, you know, we're like, all right, fuck you. We're going to make shit hard for you as well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because I see, like, this family member I have who's very anti-vax and anti.
You said your brother already.
All right, yeah. he would be the type to. I don't think he would make things hard for the police in a situation like that. But he's like, there's a type of people who just happen. I call them flat earthers, even if they don't believe in flat earth. It's this mindset they have where it's fuck the government, like, police state, blah blah blah, bullshit. And they fuck themselves over if they do something wrong, because then they're like, I'm not fucking cooperating with you. Oh, you're not the boss of me, pig, or whatever. Right. And then they get the big fine and the big thing, which just reinforces their mental beliefs that there's the system against them type of thing. Whereas I would be very much I fucked up, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not a bad person. Just give me my fine and everything, you know.
Because what you do there, if you do that attitude, which I took and you said you would talk, you live to fight another day. You live to do another dodgy scheme. You get out and you, like, if you make this incident the hill that you're going to die on, you're going to die on this hill. Do you want to go out and keep doing dodgy shit and living your life? Yes, that's how I want to do it. So, cool. Pull back.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Because that's also an attitude. As much as Australians are like, fucking Eureka uprising, down with the police, all this shit, which we've always had. By the way, defund the police. We've hated the police for a long time in Australia. Get with it. The next thing is like, what the Australian attitude is, how can I get out of this thing with the police as quickly as possible so I can get back to doing what I was doing before? So what do I have to do? Yeah, officer. Oh, right. Oh my God, it's such a terrible thing. You're right. I want to live to fight another day. I don't need to die on this hill. So cool. I'll pay the fine, do the thing, and go off and keep on doing what it is. If you want to be like, no, fuck you, cops. Also, okay, that's the next thing. Do you think there's a difference when you're dealing with your own police as opposed to a foreign police?
Big time. Massive.
Big time. I dare say I might be more like fuck a police in Australia.
Yeah.
For some reason.
It's interesting to me because in Estonia, everything's so centralized, everything's connected in this country. So, let's say the Kratom story, let's say you refused to show them your bank statements.
Right.
They can just go to the bank and say, can we see this bank statement?
Right. That's giving them, and then and because when they asked for my bank statements and they asked for 30 days. So they said, hey, we can see when this comes in. We want to see 30 days before that. So I'm like, cool. I'm sending you exactly 30 days. And you don't have to keep going poking around, maybe possibly seeing their other transactions. That you could have, exactly, right?
Yeah.
A good criminal does not invite further investigation into themselves.
But see, in Ireland, the police can't do that. They can't request the information from a bank. They just can't do it.
Well, maybe they can't, exactly. But
well, they would have to go to a court.
They can
they would
push,
have to
they can nudge, they can not give you the minimum. They can do things like, apparently I got the minimum because I was, being sorry and cooperative.
Yeah. Yeah, I was talking to Tauri about this on the mountain, actually, funnily enough.
On the mountain.
About, police training in Estonia. He was telling me that, they're kind of taught to be kind of sensitive to the person, to be understanding of their situation, to not just be accusatory and angry with them. If they're being nice, you know what I mean? They get sensitivity training, all this shit.
Wow.
Like in Ireland.
Wow.
They're looking for an excuse to hit you with a stick. You know what I mean?
We get the opposite of that in Australia.
Yeah.
Whatever sensitivity training is, I don't understand what it is. You get the opposite of that as an Australian copper.
And they get psychological training and all this stuff here, and that's what I like, because my limited interactions with the police in this country, they are all fucking
limited.
They're sound out. They're nice. They're funny.
They're like, look, you did a crime. We're not angry at you and shit, but we got to do some.
Yeah.
We got to give you something because it's we're
Whereas
the police.
In Ireland, they're like,
we're gonna fucking beat you, cunt. All right, here's the deal. You're all right.
Because I grew up in Croydon, apparently, according to him.
I have no idea what accent I'm doing.
I was Cockney, south of London. What, son?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Did a fucking bad thing, son.
I have no idea because I can't do an
Drop
Irish.
your trousers, mate.
The only I can do fiddly-dee. I'm Irish. That's all I've got. I can't
do that in Ireland, and we'll see how quickly it takes for someone to knock you out. But in Ireland, they will do the classic good cop, bad cop thing. If they're asking you questions, they will literally say "Oh, you're in a lot of trouble now, buddy. You're fucking." Oh, you know what they do to people like you in Portlaoise prison? They'll fucking do that shit. They have no sensitivity training whatsoever. And there's rampant corruption in our police still. It seems like in Estonia, when it comes to government shit, there just can't be corruption anymore at the level of police or whatever.
Right.
In government, there is always going to be corruption.
That's very interesting.
Because everything's on a system. Everything's on a database now. Everything's tracked. You know what I mean?
And certainly, as much as I've understood it had been, when my friends and I first came to Europe in 2006, and we were backpacking around, and we bought the old Volvo in Sweden. Mm-hmm. We put it on the Tallink ferry and landed in this weird country called Estonia for the first time that we'd never seen before. And kind of the travel took us through, obviously Latvia, Lithuania down there. And somewhere, I forget where it was, but it wasn't in Estonia. It was in Latvia or Lithuania. Somewhere along the way, we picked up some hitchhikers. And it was a young couple, and they get in the car, and the dude sits in the front seat, I don't know, for some reason that seat was free, right? And he sits in that seat, and he opens the glove box, and he goes, "Where's the vodka?" And we were like, what? It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. What do you, I mean, I appreciate your spirit, my friend, but what are you talking about? And he's like, where's the bribing vodka? And we were like, oh, that's a thing? And he's like, yes. And I think maybe we're in Lithuania. And he's like,
fucking hell.
Here's the way you need to work it. I'll give you the tips. You need to have a bottle of vodka in this glove box at any time that could be ready that you may need to give it to someone.
Vodka of all things, not just cash.
Not just cash, vodka. And I was like, I checked my watch and I'm like, what fucking year is this? But okay, this is 2006. And as it turns out, we did after that, actually, we bought the bottle of vodka and we put it in the glove box as the dude had said. And we actually, I mean, you get through Poland and wherever else you're fucking going through. And then eventually we got to like Austria and we were in Vienna and we're like, we still got that bottle of vodka in the... Wait, we're in Austria. You can't bribe no friggin' police. Let's drink the vodka. So we had vodka, bribing vodka party to, that bottle that we'd bought in Lithuania.
It's all different here now. You can't bribe the police anymore.
No, not anymore. And as much as I understood, absolutely, back in the day, the 90s, the the mid-90s, yeah, sure. The police came along, you put the Kron note in there.
Yeah.
But these days, I can't see it.
Well, like, and another thing as well, like the first time that someone called the police on me in this country was for a noise complaint. My neighbour downstairs, who I would never call the police on a neighbour. I'd knock on the door and ask them to quiet down. Personally, I think it's a bitch move to call the police. But anyway, they came and they were all young guys. They were all like early 20s, mid 20s, and they were like, "Yeah, man, it's all right. Just just relax. Just keep the volume down and stuff like that." And I was like, "Fucking hell! If this was like 15 years ago, I could probably invite him in and get pissed with them."
I would have had a drink. I forget, I was living in Kadriog and it might have been, I want to say 2008, something like this. I was living in Kadriog and I think it was Melika, my Estonian friend, was living there. I don't think Andreas had moved in yet. And we had a party and the building we're in, like wafer thin walls, right? That classic 90s Estonian building that just had no money. Like they scrimped on everything when building this thing, wafer thin walls. So we had a party one night and, loud. And then the neighbors came to knock on the door and they knocked on the door. And I have to admit, look, I'm not proud of this. It happened, but I was a bit of a, like my friends answered the door, but I was a drunk fuck. And I was a drunk, obnoxious shit. And I was like, fuck it, what? You can fuck, we can. Look, not proud of this behavior. But the neighbors did come to ask, and because I was a drunk, obnoxious fuck, they went, okay, we understand. And then whatever's time later, the police showed up. And the police showed up and told us to turn it down and all of that. And no one got hauled away and it was pretty reasonable. But I did get a notice to come down to the police station. And the police station now, it's now part of Realkol, which is just opposite Vabrusa-Valjak. But it used to be part of the police and I had to go in there and I sat down with the guy and he's like, look, we're not, he's like, look, I got to do something because the complaint and all of that. So I got to give you the fine. And I'm like, I understand. What's the fine? He was like, 150 crowns.
Which was like, what, 10 euro?
10 euros. And I was like, do you want it now? Or what? I was like, can I prepay a backpack of 10 or something?
Yeah.
Can I get a discount?
Weird. I never got any notice from the police.
Yeah, I had to go down and like, look, it's a formality. We got to haul you here.
Yeah.
This wasn't a good situation because the cops came, because the officers came, we got to haul you in. But and here's the fine we have to give you. And that whole thing, I just found the most sensible and reasonable thing ever, and I really deserve to pay much more for being an ass.
Yeah, that's the thing about like. Is that your phone? Oh, my phone. It's the police calling.
Pinch on trying to talk to me. He doesn't like to type because he's Chinese. He doesn't know English, so he sends me voice messages.
But anyway, like here, if I got a notice to come down to the station, I would have gone and paid the fine or whatever. But even like, though the police showed up to tell me to quiet down, and they told me, you've actually been at this for 2 nights now, which they were right. The first night
they knew.
Yeah, The first night like Tombit and the lads were around, and I was just blasting fucking music at like 4 o'clock in the morning. And the police weren't called that time, but the second time I was just by myself, just listening to fucking Bon Iver crying or whatever. And they came and they left, and I genuinely I felt bad for the police. They sent 5 guys, and I was like, lad, 5 people just to tell it.
Nothing to do. I mean, I guess the police station down the road, so like, hey.
Yeah, but Pohjola, they're the most overworked police in Europe, I'd say. Like North Tallinn is fucking bonkers. It is like, it's just this lawless hellscape in the evenings. There's just
What? Really?
every 5 minutes, convoy police cars going up the road. Convoy police cars, ambulances up.
You do
and
live
down,
on the
up
road to
and down.
Copley. I don't know if that's it. Or
It's
something.
insane, because I was talking to a police guy once about this, and he was like, yeah, we have to cover the old town as well.
Oh shit.
So at the moment, we're actually, because of coronavirus, we're all right. But when the tour season starts up again, he was like, it's crazy, because you have the drunk tourists in the old town causing trouble, and then you have massive populations of Russian people in Pohjola.
Russian people.
Sound bunch of lads, but they love their drink and they love a bit of wife beating, you know what I mean?
Who doesn't?
And every time when I scoot down Sola, I just see fucking police cars outside apartment buildings, guys getting hauled away, but guys passed out at bus stations, guys just doing heroin open, and there they go again.
Yeah, actually, literally, as we're recording, we can hear a siren outside.
So they're like very overworked. So when I saw 5 of them at my door, I thought, lads, come on.
yeah,
Just send one guy in. Just tell me to shut up.
one guy with a fine, a checkbook or something. You know, here's your fine. Boom, done.
And I did feel bad. I initially thought about getting a gift basket for everyone on the floor below me, and an apology letter. I even got Tauri to write me one in English, or sorry, in Estonian. And I was going to get Oleg to write one in Russian, because it's all Russian people in my building. But then I started thinking to myself, what a fucking pussy that he wouldn't knock on my door. Just be a man and knock on my door and tell me to shut my fucking mouth. You know?
You can
Fucking
you can do that. I mean, I have, in a previous relationship, it was things weren't good, and like I had a note taped to my door, which was like, you guys need to quit the arguing, like whatever, but like, because we were arguing a lot, and there was some yelling. I'm not proud of that, but there was a note taped to my door, like, we can hear you, stop it.
Yeah.
Like, go get some counseling or something.
Yeah, I think it's a pussy move to call on your neighbor too. Because I mean, look, that building I live in, I don't know what the fuck is going on there, but there are a lot of rich Russians living there. And I probably saved one of their lives once. Last Christmas, when I had to stay here, I didn't get to go home. Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, one of the two, I just found one of my downstairs neighbors wandering outside in the snow, wearing his pajama bottoms and a t-shirt and his slippers. And I thought, all right, he's doing whatever. So I left and I drove into town, and by the time I drove back, he was still outside and he was turning fucking blue. So I helped him in, got him in the elevator, asked him, is he all right? He said, yeah. Talked to him. He was a doctor, like a fucking doctor, like a rich Russian doctor guy. And, you know, I would assume that the other people in the other buildings were probably looking out their window and going like, oh, who's this guy? Or they would have just called the police instead of actually going out and fucking helping the guy. So when, you know, the neighbor calls the police as a first option, we're fucking neighbors. You know what I mean? It means something. Don't fucking call the police on me. Tell me to shut up.
I see where you're going.
But that's
it's
a very
classic.
That's a very west of Ireland
Right,
thing,
it's a very classic clash of cultures thing. Because I think I'm in the phase like, now I've been here, I'd be like, I'd write a note.
I'd never call the police on my neighbors.
Excuse me,
never.
I wanna.
Yeah. I mean, if they were like, like yelling at me or pointing a gun at me, then of course I call the police. But over small squabbles like noise complaints and stuff like that, just be a man and fucking talk to me. You know what I mean? It's coming from me. If I'm telling people to be a man, Lewis, fucking hell, it's rough going. Like, you know what I mean?
Whew. All right, we've been doing an hour and 20. Shall we wrap it up? So,
We might. I could get into the Irish stuff big time, like, because this Ireland trip was. I think Tauri wants to move to Ireland now.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's.
I think you might. You might want to.
I think we can do another one on this. Let's do another one on that later on. We've done an hour and 20. It's good.
Just to put a line under the Irish stuff for now, though, is I knew this was going to happen. I knew they were going to fall in love with Kerry. I knew they were going to fall in love with Ireland, and I knew that they were going to dread leaving. But I didn't really understand just how much they were like, because I know how class Kerry is, and I've been telling people how class Kerry is for years. But when you're actually there, you realize, this is actual fucking paradise. So coming back from Ireland to Estonia was, we were all a bit kind of back to normality now, and you'll experience the same.
I want to experience, and not to take away from the Kerry experience, but we've been locked up like sheep for 18 months. Anywhere sounds fucking good to me right now. Anywhere, I'd be like, oh, this is the heaven.
But my mom will wash your clothes and she'll make them smell nice, and Tim will cook you breakfast every morning. The dog will come in and stick his head under your arm and try and get you to pet him. The cat will be a fat sack of shit because that's all he does. And it is nice there, so I hope we can do this trip.
We're going to do it. I hope so too. I got some stuff later in the month, like some events already that are booked in. I'll be hosting the first day of Startup Day, so I got to do that. And then the day after, I got some stuff there. So as long as
the flights are Saturdays and Wednesdays, so Saturday to Saturday, Wednesday to Wednesday, whichever.
Work it out. So we've got another episode. We can talk more about Ireland. I'd love to do that.
Oh, Christ.
But I really want to do this next episode where we're going to this place that I can't even remember the name of it. Viskla.
Yeah.
So as I've understood, I read a news article on English ERR, thank you, Andrew White, that Viskla was named Village of the Year in Estonia.
We better make sure it's actually Viskla and I'm not just talking.
Sure, okay, load the link then. So there's Village of the Year, and I thought that it would be a great idea if Tim and I go there for a day. We go for the afternoon, we walk around, have a coffee, Viskla. We go to Viskla, we walk around, see what's going on in Viskla, and then we're going to sit at a park bench, like put the mic stands on a park bench and get the Zoom recorder and just record the next podcast in the park in Viskla after just walking around, trying to understand what would make this village so great that it was named Village of the Year.
And when people pass by, I'm going to try and get them to come talk to us.
Come talk to us, where this is the Comedy Guy podcast. They're like, Mida? And we're like, Comedy Guy. Yeah, we'll just be like, say on Sanderigas. Yeah, come, see.
Pak
come.
Sanderigas.
True, he's very skinny now. He used to be fat.
Yeah.
Oh, I miss Fat Sander.
He was a legend. I miss Fat Tim. Fat Tim could have got a vaccine. Fuck.
Yeah, we need to go Skinny Tim. Fuck Skinny Tim.
Yeah, look at him, man. Look at all the skinniness.
Skinniness of this. So thank you for listening. It's just a fun one. Next week we're going to be out and about doing it in Viskla. And
you know what? We should actually do that format more.
Absolutely.
Do one in Paida for the Arvamos Festival.
This is my secret hope, that this is a good formula for us to...
Because during the Arvamos Festival, there'll be a bunch of like chatty hippies who I hate. So you can just pull them in and go, tell me about Greta Thunberg.
What's your opinion on this? It's the most Estonian bullshit that I've ever heard. The opinion festival. We're all going to gather around and say our opinions to one another.
The buses aren't bus enough.
Oh, that's why they need to be all bussy. Why aren't they bus-tacular?
So we should do the Arvamos Festival.
Okay, so it's like a prototype episode that we're going to do next week. That can we do it? Just we have the technology that we can go.
Bring the bribing vodka.
Yeah, we need the bribing
case.
vodka. We need that. You want vini, sorvini, vini, ma? That's what we're going to do next time. All right, Tim. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Tim. See you next week. Ciao.